Last Man Home. On the Sky Road. Written by John Miro. Part 8. I was ordered to, he managed, remove his weapons. He sucked in a rattling breath. Didn't hurt him, I swear. I let him go. He tumbled backwards and fell off the table. The crew of the good ship Sky Road had knocked my blood brother unconscious, cut off at least one tentacle before Drew made good his messy and violent escape, and I didn't think they were done with him yet. I looked at Whitaker. Ordered to? I asked her. Whitaker looked back. I'll find him. I'll protect him. My word on that. Protect him? The doctor on the ground bleated. No, arrest them. All of them. I demand you. I didn't take my eyes off her as she turned her head and looked down at the ship's doctor. He saw what I saw, and wisely shut up. Whitaker looked both Teddy and Gris in the eyes and made the same promise. Okay then, I said, guessing I spoke for both my buddies. What do we do here, Chief? Before she could answer, we heard more boots in the corridor. Whitaker jogged towards the door. She took one look and spun around. You get against the wall, she ordered, stabbing her finger to our right. Now! Teddy hissed. A full-on, stereotypical lizard hiss. The kind he hated making. That signaled to me the scary little bastard was almost as out of control as I was. And strangely enough, that kind of put me back in my right mind. I grabbed him by the neck and yanked him with me towards the wall. He eyed my hand, and I think I was about to actually get bit when Gris backed up against the wall beside him. No Drew here, Teddy. Just a bunch more guns coming. Stay put, will ya? Teddy swallowed the hiss. The sound cut off, but I could still feel it rumbling in his throat. Good enough for now, I thought, and backed up to the wall on the other side of Teddy. Just as 3, 4, 5 little butler guards came into the rooms, weapons raised and whining at full capacity. The kill setting again. I was getting pretty damn tired of people pointing lethal weapons at my head. They're unarmed and in my custody, Whitaker shouted, standing in between her men and us. Another, shinier uniform walked in the door, and Whitaker changed the tone of her voice. Their inheritors will also have clear grounds to sue if we pull one trigger, Captain. Stand down. The new officer was a tall, thin woman with a pinched nose and high-clipped voice. She walked towards Whitaker, lowering the pitch of that voice. We've got bigger problems than pending lawsuits, Chief Whitaker. We all inched forward, listening hard for answers. Where the hell was our friend now? Whitaker ignored the intimation of her promotion and glared back, waiting for the other shoe to drop. The captain tapped a badge on her lapel and muttered into it. The audible alarm cut off, but the lights kept flashing yellow. The captain wore a perfect blank poker face as she told Whitaker, we have a code white situation. Which meant what exactly? I furrowed my eyebrows and whipped my head to Teddy and Gris, my face wearing my question. They both returned species-specific expressions for no fucking clue. So does code white have anything to do with that puddle of blood back there? I snapped at the captain. 'Cause between the blood and the security footage I saw, it pretty much says jail time all around to me. Where is my friend? As if we'd planned it, all three of us automatically started forward, but Whitaker held up one hand. We recognized the gesture, and she had already earned enough respect for us to hang back and keep quiet, for now. The captain let her drag her a few paces back, and the two officers spoke in whispers. I turned my attention to the butler guard on the far right. He'd be the one I'd go for if things went hairy. The guard on the receiving end of my promise of violence backed up a few steps, and his stunner started shaking. I let the ugly promise I was feeling out in that crazy smile. The officer's whispers got louder and harder. Finally, the captain shook her head. Can't have civilians involved. Whitaker laughed in the captain's face. We're the only people on this boat who aren't civilians. Besides, who else is going to talk Drew down? You? Hope you wear a lot of SPF in case you bork it. I'll talk him down. The words were out of my mouth before I knew I'd said it, and long before I half figured out what I'd agreed to talk Drew down from. The captain looked at me, and a baker's dozen of terrors showed through her poker face. I wish you luck, Sergeant Behringer. The poker face recovered when she focused on her new chief. Do what you have to. With that, the captain turned her attention to the 4 guards who had stormed the room with her and hadn't taken their eyes off us since. They didn't give the captain any notice now either. You 3 with me, Whitaker told us and jerked her chin, and we filed out of the room after her, back into the corridor. Code White means? Gris asked Whitaker as we followed her back to the elevator. How much blood did you see? Teddy asked me. Are we talking about battle rage? Death hormone? They just cut 1 cybernetic tentacle before he canceled the elective procedure, I told him, bumping my fist down on Teddy's shoulder to provide rough reassurance. 1 tentacle will heal over no problem. I looked back to Whitaker, waiting. The elevator didn't obligingly slide open this time. Whitaker talked while we waited for it to arrive. Brewster, our former chief of security, received a digital warrant for your friend and acted like the hot-headed asshole that he is. The racist dickhead always was scared shitless of Sammy's. She blew out a breath and shook her head. The Cap fired his ass and locked him in his cabin. The corporation won't want this to blow back on them, I can assure you. Brewster's going to jail for what he did to Drew. Back up. Gris's head bobbed in frustration. Warrant for Drew's arrest? No, Whitaker said. A warrant to decertify his mercenary license and repo any and all armaments in his possession. And this guy Brewster decided to do it with a forced amputation, I growled. She nodded. Asshole, racist dickhead doesn't do him justice, does it? So Drew wakes up in a jail cell, Teddy says, his voice shaky, angry. And I could tell, feeling a little guilty, wakes up in a cell with someone preparing to hack off his tentacles. Cut off his tentacles again, I nodded, fighting past my own guilt about the last time that happened. So he does what he does best. Takes out everyone in the room and evades capture, Gris finished. Cap just told me where he is. She had the area locked down until we can get there. We know the exact hatch he's trying to access. We've got a few minutes to get there before he could possibly hotwire his way through. My skin crawled the way she said a few minutes to get there. The door opened. We chased Whitaker in, all looking the same question at her. She swallowed. He went below decks. He accessed an engineering section, and he's smashed every camera and intercom where he's holed up. The elevator dropped faster than usual, not the way the passenger elevators on this boat did. It reminded me of the lifts on the troop transports we served on during the war. What hatch is he trying to open? Teddy asked. What's on the other side? What happens in a few minutes? Gris asked over him. Whitaker and I locked our eyes. What's a code white? I asked. She swallowed hard again and answered, Passenger attempting suicide. Last Man Home. On the Sky Road. Written and recorded by John Miro. Stay tuned.